Hey everybody, Elliot here, Lazy Dogs Records. I hope everybody's doing well today. I thought I would do a video, post a video on my finds of, wait a minute, we're in the pandemic, so I can't keep up with my days or months. What month are we in? We're in May, right? Okay. With my music I've acquired in the month of May. Of course, haven't been going out anywhere. I've been confining all that to just the grocery store and the post office, and that's pretty much it for the last eight weeks or so, and not looking to change that very much in the near future either. But I got some VCLT in the mail that I was very happy to get. I want to show you that, and also ordered some albums that I want to share with you that I've acquired this month. So I'll go ahead and get started. First of all, the VCLT, Rod the Happy Hippie. What a great guy, Rod, over there in East Tennessee. And he sent me two records that I'm just thrilled to get. And he knows how much I love country music and guitarists and the such. And so he sent me this record, Nashville Guitars at Home. And basically, this is a Monument Records, the Monument record label, a production that basically highlights the guitar playing of Harold Bradley. You know, he was one of the key session guitarists in the 60s and into the 70s in Nashville. And he and several other guitarists perform on here. Very good album. They do just a variety of instrumentals. Green Green Grass of Home, It's Such a Pretty World, Distant Drums, Chicken Picking, Rhode Island Red, He'll Have to Go, and let's see, where's Harold? There's Harold right there. And like I say, several other guitarists join him on that, and other studio musicians. And it's on Monument, that great record label out of Nashville. Let's see, Charlie Rich was on there. Chris Christopherson was on Monument, I believe. Lots of great artists. Roy Orbison was on there too, I believe. Okay, and he also gave me this great Paul Rodgers album, a solo album called Cut Loose. Now, Paul Rodgers, of course, singer for Free, a highly regarded band from, I guess it would be the late 60s into the first few years of the 70s, and then went on after Free and formed a supergroup, Bad Company. And this album is really good. You can really tell how much of an influence Paul Rodgers is on Bad Company by listening to this solo album. Obviously, he's a lead singer for Bad Company, so you know that makes it gives him an advantage over some of the other members of the band as far as their sway or influence, or you know, what they add to the band. But this solo album is really good, and you know, he could have easily easily could have been a Bad Company album. Bad Company was huge when I was a teenager, and in the few years after that. What was the album and tour with the Wolves? Bad Company, Running with the Pack, was that it? Saw them, I guess it was maybe 76 in Greensboro Coliseum. Saw Bad Company, great concert. Maybe my junior or senior, I think it might have been my senior year in high school. But Paul Rodgers, still out there performing. Bad Company performs sometimes these days as a group, and Paul Rodgers, you know, tours as solo act too, I'm pretty sure, these days as well. So, Rod, I appreciate it so much. It was just a very generous gift. You really didn't have to do it, but hey man, I appreciate it. It's very thoughtful of you. Rod's a great guy. If you don't subscribe to Rod the Happy Hippies channel, you really need to. I'll try to remember to put a link in the description here to Rod's channel. Anybody that doesn't subscribe to that, he's a great guy. Offers a lot of insight. He's done a lot of things music related over the years, and shows some great stuff and tells some great stories. He's got a contest going on right now too that you might want to jump in on. Okay, and then I purchased this album, new. I think it came out in 2018. And if you follow my channel, you know my love for roots music. This is Fiddle Noir, and it's African American fiddlers on early phonograph records, 1925 to 1949. And it's on this label, which is what's called Old Hat Records. And they took the 78s and transferred them. I've got other Old Hat, but the Old Hat I've got are CDs. So I searched their website and hoping to get more of their stuff and get some of it on vinyl, but they didn't. This is what they had on vinyl, which I was very glad to get because this is something I'm interested in. But I was hoping their other stuff maybe will eventually get on vinyl as well. A lot of 78s transferred to CD. They've got I've got a CD that they put out about let's see, Tunes from the Lost Provinces, I believe it's called, which is what we called in North Carolina these far western counties, so far from the rest of the citizenry of the state, kind of isolated. They called them the Lost Provinces because they were kind of, you know, far away from anything else back, you know, before interstates and the trains and everything else. But this album has got Peg Leg Howes on here, Mississippi Jug Band. Those are a couple of the names I recognize. In fact, the only names I recognize. Some of the other bands or artists, Jack Kelly, a band called the Mobile Stranglers, instrumental trio, State Street Boys, James Cole String Band, Eva Parker, Andrew and Jim Baxter. But they're all featuring, you know, African American string band music basically, and jug band music is what it is. Fiddler Noir. So highly recommended. I've listened to it a couple times. It's really, really good. Okay, other new music I purchased. Sarah Shook and the Disarmers, Sidelong. And I already had this on CD, or both of these albums I'm getting ready to show you on CD, but I wanted to have them on vinyl. I never play my CDs anymore. But Sarah Shook, interesting story. I won't go into great detail. John at Digital Gramophone has mentioned her a couple of times in some of his stuff. But alt country, I guess, might be the best description I can think of for her. She's an interesting person, and her band very interesting as well. And they got signed to Bloodshot Records out of Chicago. This album came out before that on a local label, and then she got signed to Bloodshot, and they reissued it, and then they issued this new album, Years. My favorite song on all of these is one called, let's see if you can see that, Dwight Yoakam. And I won't go into it. It's a song that includes Dwight Yoakam in it. It's not specifically about Dwight Yoakam, but it makes a mention of Dwight Yoakam in it. I always hear the lyric, you know how you hear lyrics differently than what they actually say, you know, like Jimi Hendrix, excuse me while I kiss the sky. Well, a lot of people heard that as excuse me while I kiss this guy. And what was it? Creedence Clearwater Revival. There's a bad moon on the rise. Well, you know, there's a bathroom on the right, you know. Well, she sings in there, the phrase is, and he sounds just like Dwight Yoakam. But I've never heard it. I played over and over and listened to it. What I hear every time is, but he's anxious like Dwight Yoakam. And to me, that just brings up, you know, He's anxious like Dwight Yoakam. Okay, is Dwight Yoakam anxious? How is he anxious? Just makes my brain, the wheels start turning in my brain. I've always liked that turn of phrase better than hers. And I've commented to her on Twitter, I guess, or something. You need, this is what I hear. You need to change it to this. She just laughs. Doesn't obviously doesn't change it, but no, I think she ought to. Okay, and the next, the rest of what I got, I purchased from a dealer through Discogs, and so all used records. Got these at a very, very good rate. I was specifically looking, and when I get to them, I'll point out the ones I was specifically looking for. When I go to Discogs, I'm in search of a particular album I can't find in the wild, and I try to find it at a good price in good condition from a reputable seller, and with a a reasonable shipping charge and things like that. So once I find it, I will I'll go in, and in order to reduce the cost of shipping and make the purchase worthwhile, I'll usually find some low cost items, a couple of dollars or something, and purchase these. So for a couple of these, I paid and they were all make an offer. Everything he had was make an offer. So I made an offer on 12 records, and he took them all. He wanted 15, I offered him 10. He wanted 10, and I offered him 7, about like that. And he took all of them, all those offers. Okay, so I got a box set. I was real pleased to get this. This is an anthology of folk music. Now, this is not the Harry Smith anthology, but this is one on which I wish that thing costs like several $100s to get a used anthology of American folk music, Harry Smith. But this is on Sinkalnon, which I don't know what in the heck that is, label. But it's got 5 records. It's got a side of all Pete Seeger, and on another side it's got Odetta and Etta Baker and Italian brass band and chorus, and Alan Lomax's Texas folk songs. On record 2, it's got a side of Lead Belly and a side of Woody Guthrie. That's really kind of what got my attention, that record. On record 3, a Josh White and a side, and a Lightning Hopkins side. And on record 4, it's got a Clancy Brothers and Tom Macomb side, and then a side that's got some blues on it with Lightning Hopkins and Brownie McGee, and some folk with Pete Seeger and Glenn Yarborough. And on record 5, it's got a side of John Lee Hooker, and then a side of unknown performers that are is referred to as Negro prison songs from the Mississippi State Penitentiary. And that's something I'm really looking forward to hearing right there. Haven't listened to any of this yet. Just got this in the mail. And Tampa Red. This is 1932 to 1953 recordings by Tampa Red. I'm not going to show you the vinyl. I don't think there's any need. And here's one that I paid. I think he wanted $15 for it, and I gave him. He took 10 for it. And that's the Muddy Waters at Newport album. This is a reissue from the early 80s, I believe, 83 or 82 or something like that. But I love Muddy Waters, and of course, this is a Chess Records reissue. So that's one I paid the most I paid for anything was for that one, $10. And Masters of the Blues, 1928 to 1940, and that looks to me, isn't that Blind Boy Fuller right there? I think it is. And this has got Tommy Johnson on there. You don't see any Tommy Johnson recordings very often on vinyl. It's got some Robert Johnson, which of course not everybody, but I've got a lot of Robert Johnson, so that's not something that's important to me because I've already got all his stuff. It's got some Blind Boy Fuller, some Curly Weaver, Little Bill Gaither, It's got Bumblebee Slim on here, Frank Stokes, Texas Alexander, who I'm not familiar with, Robert Hill, who I'm not familiar with, but blues artists from the 30s, 20s, and 30s compilation. And there's something, this is sealed. No, it's not sealed. It's just still got the shrink on it. This is a beach music compilation. I paid $1 for it. Beach music's a subgenre here in southeastern United States. I won't go into detail about that, but it's music that's been very popular in the southeast. Basically, R&B music that's used to dance, a dance that's been very popular. And so it's got some R&B artists and current artists that that play that as well. And then this one's sealed. This is the history of rock instrumentals, history of rock instrumentals. And of course, this has got the classic from the Safaris, Wipeout. Everybody in elementary school when I was growing up, we could all play Wipeout, the drum solo in Wipeout, with our pencils. We'd get 2 pencils and play it on the desk. Well, and if you could play it, you know, you were impressive. It's got the Ventures doing Hawaii 5-0 and Walk Don't Run. Dave Baby Cortez doing the Happy Organ. He does one more on here, I believe. No, that's the only one I see. Johnny and the Hurricanes doing Red River Rock. Preston Elps doing bongo rock. But, you know, rock instrumentals were very big, you know, just in the 60s. So I thought that would be a fun album to have. And here's the other one I was looking for specifically, and I think I might have paid $10 or something for this one. This is Billy Joe Shaffer, and this is his second album for Capricorn, I believe, Gypsy Boy. And of course, the great Texas singer-songwriter here on Capricorn, did 2 albums on Capricorn, I believe. And I don't remember, maybe I paid $12 for that or something. Paid more for that than any of the others. Let's see. And this is a reissue of a John Lee Hooker album. On United, this one's called Drifting Through the Blues. I think this was issued in '69. I think there was one in '62, the same album with a different title. I don't remember the title off the top of my head, though. And then, of course, if you're a fan of Canned Heat, John Lee Hooker. Hooker and Heat Live. This is a Rhino release, so this was from the 80s, I believe. But it's a live recording of Canned Heat and John Lee Hooker together. And then this one's sealed. Bonnie Bramlett on Capricorn. I collect Capricorn records, by the way. Lady's Choice, this is called. And this is, let's see, a lot of this was recorded at Muscle Shoals. So looking forward to that. She does duets with Mickey Thomas. Let's see, with Dobie Gray, with Greg Allman, with Jimmy Hall. And, you know, about half of them are just her doing lead vocals, and about half of them are duets, like I said, with those artists that I mentioned. And let's see, here's one, Tough Mamas. Tough Mamas. And this is just a compilation of, you know, that jazzy blues, female singer type stuff from the 20s, I guess. Big Mama Thornton's on here. A lot of these singers I'm not familiar with. Martha Moore, Pearl Reeves, Madonna Martin, Big Bertha Henderson with the Al Smith Orchestra, Rose Johnson, and Carter. But that era of female blues, jazz blues singers. And finally, the last thing I got here is, and this one's sealed, although the seal's not very good shape. Major Bill's Texas Rock and Roll. And Major Bill was a regional uh, record producer, promoter extraordinaire out of Fort Worth, I believe. And he got some singles, some songs to break nationally. Recorded a lot of young R&B artists and rock and blues artists from that region, a very fertile region, music region around Fort Worth. Major Bill, Bruce Chanel, Hey Baby, I guess would be maybe the biggest single that he was responsible for, and that's not on that album. It's just an interesting little album with some of those artists that he promoted. Okay, so that's what I picked up in the last month or so. I hope you enjoyed this. I got a couple of contests I want to get in on here pretty soon. I'll try to find time to take those in the near future. And I'll just remind everybody, be kind to your neighbors because we're all neighbors. Take care.